Hey guys, what's going on? Long time no see. I just want to apologize in advance. I had really hoped to get this out around Christmas, at least much closer to Christmas. I'm just now kind of getting my voice back. I've been sick for like the last week, and I had really planned to do maybe like 2 or 3 videos, and I'm going to just kind of cram it all into one. And if I can get that all into one video, that'll definitely save me a lot of time and speed things along so I can get to the next video. First thing I want to do is do kind of like a Christmas haul, and I'll show you guys some of the stuff I got, and then I've actually got some stuff I saved to open on camera, so I'll open that for you guys. These are some of the movies and movie related things that I got for Christmas. I got Godfather 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, which I had been wanting this for a long time. I'm not a real big Godfather 3 fan, so I'm perfectly happy with just having Godfather 1 and 2. The next thing I got for Christmas, it's one of those TCM, Turner Classic Movies collections that has 4 movies, but this is all older stuff that Alfred Hitchcock had done. And the real reason I wanted to get this is because of Strangers on a Train, but it also has on there Suspicion, The Wrong Man, and I Confess. So it's a cool little 4-pack. If you're looking into getting some classic movies, there's a lot of these 4-packs that are great. You can get movies for roughly about $2 or $3 each, so it's a pretty good deal. Next thing I got was Internal Affairs. This is a movie I've been wanting to get for a while that I think is out of print now. The prices are still pretty low and reasonable, but I don't think they've put this out for a couple of years now. But yeah, Internal Affairs with Richard Gere and Andy Garcia. I had seen this on cable years ago and thought to myself I'd really like to sit down and watch it again, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up having it on my wish list, and I got it for Christmas. Another movie that I got is something I've been wanting to get for a long time. I had really wanted to get this movie before I even knew exactly what it was about or what the name of it was, because a lot of people had seen this movie in the Metallica video 1 we did back in the early 90s, but it's Johnny Got His Gun. And I always thought this movie was a really old movie because it's got black and white scenes in it, but it's actually from, I believe, like the 70s. But it's got color and black and white scenes. So a lot of those black and white scenes made it seem like it was probably a much older film, but it's about a guy who comes back from World War I and he's missing his arms and his legs. He is deaf and he's blind. It's really kind of like a psychological movie. If you have any interest in something like this, definitely check it out. It's really dark and probably a little depressing, but I would say it's got to be at least one of those cult movies that some people would really enjoy watching. That was, for the most part, my movie haul. I just want to show a couple other things I got from my grandmother. This is one of them, which is the Battlestar Galactica keepsake ornament. I thought was really cool. My grandmother's always getting me really cool ornaments over the years, and she used to get me Star Wars, and every once in a while she'd get me like a Star Trek or something related to a movie or a TV show. And this is the one I got this year that's Star Wars related, which is the Showdown at the Cantina. This one's kind of funny because it has the Han Solo Greedo scene that's so infamous now because Lucas had changed who shot first. But I'm going to open these up real quick, and I'll just kind of speed this along and cut to the interesting parts. Okay, as you can see, each of these are electronic. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. It has Greedo there and Han Solo. And then you'll have a movie scene, electronic sound. So as you can see, that's the scene from the movie where Greedo gets shot. And if you're able to find these, I mean, they're really cool. They're like a neat little thing that you can probably put on your shelf as much as you could put on a Christmas tree. I have a couple of these, and I've never bothered to really put them on my tree because I just think they're kind of cool little things that, why have them out for only 1 month a year kind of deal. And it really doesn't look that much like an ornament, other than it has a little bitty circle thing at the top. But other than that, they lay flat so you can just set them on your shelf. The other one I'll show you. This one's also called, like, it's from what they would call, I think it's Magic series or something like that. But this is a Battlestar Galactica Cylon, the classic Battlestar Galactica, like from 1980. But he also has a button, but it's like he's built into this base, and the sound's down here.
These humanoids are not well constructed. They damage easily.
So hopefully you picked up some of that, but it's really, really cool. This is just a neat thing that I'll probably put him on my shelf as well. So hopefully you guys get a kick out of that. I've always enjoyed receiving things like that at Christmas. It's just one of those things that's kind of a tradition in my family. My grandmother started getting those for me about 15 years ago. So I only have like the really cool electronic ones recently because there wasn't as many back in the 90s. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open a couple of presents. I actually saved these for you guys. I kind of have an idea. I think I know what they might be. So here's the first one. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was hoping. This is the Superman motion picture collection. I've had this on DVD for a long time, and I just had like the basic movies. And I really love Superman, like the comics, the movies, even like Smallville. So I thought this was really awesome. I'm glad to have it on Blu-ray and glad to have like a big, nice box set. This includes Superman the Movie Expanded Edition, Superman 2, Superman 2 the Richard Donner Cut, Superman 3, Superman 4, and Superman Returns. So really, really cool. Deluxe 8-disc, over 20 hours of bonus features. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to checking that out. That's awesome. So you guys got to see one of the things I got for Christmas. Let's see what the other thing is. I've got like possibly 2 things I think this might be. But one thing that I hope it is, yeah, this is the thing I was hoping for the most. This is the Stanley Kubrick box set. I had most of the movies on this in DVD, and I put this in my wish list, and I actually sold off most of those DVDs, hoping that I would eventually get this, and this price for this sat still forever, like just didn't move. You know how Amazon prices go up and down? The price on this was pretty much the exact same price for about 2 to 3 months. And it was really getting frustrating because I was hoping it would go down. And then finally, right around Christmas time, I noticed it dropped a lot. It was the deal of the day one day. It was in one of the like Cyber Week or one of those things like that that Amazon did. And so I was hoping I would get it. This is a box set that includes not only a bonus disc that's not available on the UK version of this, but it also includes Spartacus, Lolita, Dr. Strangelove, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. I'm a big Stanley Kubrick fan. I have a lot of his movies already on Blu-ray that aren't these, of course, like a lot of his Criterion stuff. I've got the Killing and Killer's Kiss and a few other things like that, and so I really had wanted to complete my Stanley Kubrick collection, so it was awesome to finally get this. So that is basically my Christmas haul. Now I'd like to just go ahead and do my update because I know that if I get that out of the way, I can start looking forward to my next update because I hate to get really far behind on those. So you've seen all the things I just recently got. Now I'm going to go back to roughly about a month and a half ago, and these are all the things I've got since the middle of like November. First thing I'll do is show the DVDs. I only have a few DVDs, but one of the things that doesn't come out on Blu-ray hardly at all is Family Guy stuff. So here's Volume 9 on DVD, which Family Guy is one of those things I can't say much about it because it hasn't changed much. Most people have heard of it. It's still really funny, and I get every season of it, as it comes out. Next thing I got is Quarantine 2. I like the first Quarantine. I mean, of course, Rec is better. And I was kind of interested which way they would go with this because there were certain aspects of Quarantine that were changed slightly from Rec, and because of that, Rec 2 went a different direction, something that the quarantine couldn't follow because they'd already kind of set up their own mythology to be a little bit different. So I was just curious to see how that movie turned out. It's actually not that bad. I can say that I went into it with very low expectations, and I just found it entertaining. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a great movie, but it'd be worth a rental, something like that. The next thing I got is The Blob. This is something I ordered after the Criterion Collection sale. I couldn't find it in my local store, and I wanted to get The Blob for a long time. There for a while, this was out of print, I guess, because I couldn't find it anywhere, not any new copies. And apparently it came back. My only complaint is it's in that really, really thin case, not typical Criterion stuff now. It's more just, like the eco-friendly case and, just kind of thin, thrown together. But apparently there's a poster in there. I hadn't opened it yet, but I just hadn't been in the mood to watch The Blob. Next thing I'll show is some of my newer Blu-rays that I've received over like the last 6 weeks. This one I actually got today, which is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which is, to my understanding, it's a remake of the made-for-TV movie that was out a long time ago. And it seems kind of similar to that. I watched that when I was a kid, and I thought it was really pretty scary. It's an interesting movie. Guillermo del Toro will pretty much do anything and I'll watch it. And I don't really want to say anything bad about this movie, but the mythology and the story behind it seems really interesting, and then I couldn't really get into the characters very much. I thought that they kind of revealed the monsters a little early. I don't want to give anything away, and that's not really saying anything that would lead you to understand exactly what's going to happen before it happens. But the reveal of the monsters, and I don't mean like telling you everything about them and you figuring everything out. I meant they just show too much of them a little early. And then the design wasn't really something that, really affected me in a way that I could get into it. I don't know. But I just think that this is probably one of those movies that's probably going to be middle of the road. I liked it enough. I just really kind of wanted more. Colombiana, I remember seeing the trailers for this and it looked amazing. I watched it, and I think the biggest trouble I had with it is my girlfriend and I were watching it, and I just kept saying, I just really can't get into this. But I couldn't figure out why. I like movies like Taken, I like Man on Fire, I like revenge movies, and that's basically what this is. And I think the thing that got me the most is I watched the trailer. And a long time ago, one of the trailers I'd seen led me to believe that she was trying to rescue her daughter. They would show the little girl and they'd say, about Colombiana, or this girl herself. They'd say that, she was out to avenge her family. And it made it seem like the little girl was her daughter. And then early in the movie, like right away, it shows that the little girl is this character. And it's just that the character she plays is less sympathetic than I would have liked, or at least I was less sympathetic for her, I should say. She is kind of like she's just a trained killer, and I don't know, it just didn't seem as much like a revenge story as it just seemed like an action movie, and I couldn't get behind it very much. But if you like action movies, it's got lots of good choreographed action. A lot of the characters are played really well. I just think the story just didn't quite come together for me. It was worth a watch. I would rent it. Cowboys and Aliens, this movie builds very strange. I can say that I was really hyped about this movie, so that's probably one of the reasons I was a little let down. This movie is almost a typical Western film for like the first 20-30 minutes. It doesn't really feel like there's anything alien related. It's very much just a Western, which is okay. It just didn't really seem like it went together as well as I hoped. It's an okay film. It's odd to see Harrison Ford as kind of like a villain, and to see Daniel Craig playing just kind of like this quiet, unspoken main character. The main character really doesn't have very many lines, and that's kind of bizarre. But as a whole, it's probably a lot of fun. It's just one of those movies I think it was built up so much in my mind that I wanted to like it more than I did. This is a movie I saw just the other day, and I actually ended up watching it twice. I saw it, and my girlfriend wanted to see it, so we watched it again. Apollo 18. This movie is one of those movies that I probably got like a mixed feeling about as well. I wanted to like it because I like those lost films, or or like found film kind of movies when shot all from point of the character, POV kind of stuff. But the thing with this one is the build up to the reveal of the story, built in a way that I was kind of really getting into the story, and then when you got to the very end, it was okay. There's a lot of alternate cuts of this movie, and I think the ending that they chose is probably the best ending, but I don't know if the payoff was worth it. I would say that that's probably a rental as well. I heard really bad things about it, and honestly, it's not that bad. It was actually pretty interesting, but you know, I think there could have been some improvements in there. This is one of the actual better films I've seen in a while, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And this is one of the reasons I know that I enjoyed it, and it really, you know, got to me on a different level than a lot of these other films. Is I'm one of those people, I hate to see films where something happens to animals. And even though the main character, Caesar, which I say main character roughly like meaning, you know, the ape of the story and not the human, you know, main character, but Caesar seems so real, and it was so sad, you know, to see him going through the things that he did. That it, you know, it really affected me, and I was sympathetic to the apes, which I didn't really expect that, you know, because when you watch Planet of the Apes, the originals, you're rooting for the humans, and then some of the later sequels, you start to root for the apes again, but you never really feel true sympathy for them. It's just kind of like it feels like a movie. This made me, you know, kind of see it more from the ape perspective, so that was interesting. Conan the Barbarian, I really think that this is probably a more realistic version of Conan in certain ways, but I really like the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger version. The thing that I think I liked about the original Conan is the mixture of bits and pieces of humor and the cheesiness, and some of those things are what made, you know, the original Conan movies classic to me. And this is absent of that. This is a very serious, cut dry version of Conan. I think it's probably tried a little harder to be true to the original stories, but to me, it's hard to, you know, overcome that legacy that Arnold Schwarzenegger had in the original Conan. So I was kind of iffy on that. There was aspects of it I liked better, and then there was a lot of it that I didn't like as much as the original. This is Hangover Part 2. I heard a lot of mixed things about this, and I'm starting to understand where it's coming from now. I feel like I have something negative to say about a lot of these movies, but I thought this was funny. It's not as funny as the first one in my opinion, and to me they tried really hard to go over the top with like the, you know, the gross out factor, you know, like the raunchiness of it. And I don't think that was really as necessary. I think a lot of the fun parts in the first one are like the Zach Galifianakis, you know, character just doing weird things. And there's not as much of that in this one. And not to say this is not funny and not worth a watch. I just think that the original Hangover was a superior film. We'll get to now a movie that was what I think one of the better remakes. I know a lot of people didn't like this because they're a humongous fan of the original Fright Night. And I can see that. I really love the original Fright Night. But I thought this was fun. I thought the little things that they added to expand on this story and the ways they changed it didn't really make the movie worse than the original. I think it just made it different. So I enjoyed seeing the character Charlie in a different way, and his friend Evil, you know, Ed, him at odds. Like instead of them being friends, like in the original Fright Night, it was more like they used to be friends, and you know they weren't anymore. I think that was interesting. I mean, it could have been easy to just play it the way of the original and just update, you know, the background scenery to make it more 2010s. But instead they chose to, you know, expand upon it. And I think in its own way it paid off a little bit, because I wanted this to be a good movie because the original Fright Night is a classic in my mind. And I don't think this really did anything to ruin the original Fright Night. It didn't do anything to me that made me angry. The only thing I can say about this is that there are certain aspects of it that seemed really cheesy because they were trying so hard to make it a 3D movie, and that's okay. You know, it just kind of seems like it was unnecessary. But I did get the 3D version. I watched it, and the 3D was actually decent. It was just kind of unnecessary. All the 3D scenes that work the best seem really forced. The next movie I'll talk about is Bad Teacher. I thought this movie was hilarious. I actually ended up watching this twice in a short amount of time. I rented this on Netflix and didn't know if it was very good. I watched it and I loved it. So I immediately went and found a used copy that I could get cheap, ordered it, got it in. And as soon as it arrived, my girlfriend and I watched it together. I think it's a good character type story. It kind of reminds you of something like The Hangover or Old School or something like that. There's layers of funny character actors throughout the movie. It's kind of over the top, but like each of the scenes really plays off well. The humor plays back and forth really well between all the different characters, and I really think this works on a whole lot of different levels. The rewatchable value of Bad Teacher is probably one of the best in like the last year. I can't think of very many funny movies that have come out in the last year that I would really feel like I could rewatch as much as Bad Teacher. And that's saying a lot because I didn't hear much about it. Next movie we're talking about is Margin Call. This is a drama, of course, talking about the collapse of the real estate market and all the things that led to the economic collapse in 2008. I think this is really interesting. It's definitely a drama that plays heavily on really concise and informative dialogue. If you're not one of those people that like in-depth conversations and lots of characters going back and forth, not a lot of action, then this probably isn't the movie for you. But if you're one of those people that you like Wall Street 2, something like that, that really speaks to the fictional side and the historical side of things that are happening around us, it's going to be kind of similar to that. I don't know if it would be as interesting, but I thought Margin Call was great. And the next movie I'm talking about is 5 Days of War, which is based on war between Russia and Georgia that happened just a few years back. It's a really kind of interesting story because that story is so fresh. In fact, I couldn't believe that they'd already made a movie over it, and I was really interested to see what would happen, in the movie. Definitely, it's got a political motive behind it. It definitely shows everything from one perspective, and so I'm not going to get into the debate over who was right and who was wrong, but I would like to say that you wanted to see something about that event that happened. This is actually a well-made movie. Andy Garcia plays the president of Georgia, and Val Kilmer's in it. And Val Kilmer plays kind of a minor role, but he plays one of the reporters. And it kind of tells more of the story of all these war reporters and what it's like to travel around the world and to report different things that are going on that are really dangerous. So, that's called 5 Days of War. The next one to talk about is Super 8. I haven't watched this since it came out on Blu-ray, but I did see it at the theater. I really enjoyed the film. I felt like it was a throwback to earlier Steven Spielberg stuff, more like, Goonies. Even really in some ways feels more like a Steven Spielberg movie than it does a J.J. Abrams. I'm glad that they decided to set this in the 1980s, like as far as the setting. And it probably will never reach the status level of like a Goonies. But as far as movies go, it's nice to see somebody trying to make movies like that again, because it seems like it's impossible, to make a classic movie that feels like an 80s movie. And they did about probably as good a job as you can imagine. It's a sci-fi movie. It's a comedy. It's, kind of like, all the friends coming together 80s type of movie. So if you get a chance, definitely check out Super 8. I would definitely recommend anybody that likes those style of movies that Steven Spielberg did 30 years ago, 25 years ago. That's definitely probably a purchase. Amazon was having a sale on this, and it was like half price. But I got 12 Angry Men with Henry Fonda, Criterion Collection. All the people that are in this are the jurors that are sitting in on a murder case. And so, what you start to find out is that a movie like this is a lot of great dialogue, a lot of great actors, and it almost feels like this could happen today, because when you put these jurors, in a room, things like that haven't changed that much over the years. Jurors face the exact same things now as they did in the past for the most part. As far as TV shows, I only got a couple. I picked up this Simpsons, and this is the 14th season. Hopefully the 21st season should be coming up pretty soon. And then I also got Big Bang Theory. This is season 4, which both these shows are, things that people have seen before, and I love both of them. They were a lot of fun. Big Bang Theory looked really good on Blu-ray. I was kind of surprised because I had been getting that on DVD and didn't expect much of a difference, but Big Bang Theory is one of those shows that it takes place, a lot of it just in the living room, and the background of their living room is littered with really nerdy, geeky type things that I like, and it was really easy to make those things out and see a lot of detail on a lot of cool, geeky, nerdy things. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Blu-ray steelbooks. I picked up this one. This is the Green Lantern. I already had Green Lantern, but I wanted to pick it up on steelbook, and I was hoping to get Arkham City for Christmas. I didn't, of course, but this comes with a Sinestro Corps Batman skin, so maybe I will be able to use this eventually. And the only thing that stinks about this is, as you'll see, is this is the old DVD style steelbook case. I'm not for sure why they decided to do that since this is Blu-ray, but Best Buy put this out as an exclusive, and for whatever reason, they chose not to use the Blu-ray case version of Steelbook. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. I probably wouldn't have bought it if I'd have known that, but anyway, that's cool. Got a couple other Steelbooks here that I got. It's just upgrades of my old DVDs, and that's Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, two different classics, both from 1939. Yeah, probably not much I can say about either one of these movies. Of course, everybody's heard of these, but I just got them on Steelbook. I thought the Steelbook design, especially for Wizard of Oz, was great. I thought this was pretty cool too, but I thought that was really, much cooler. If you guys want to see that more in depth, maybe I'll just do a Steelbook overview or my collection or something later. I also got Requiem for a Dream, which was like a battle trying to get this. I originally ordered this online, and I got it on eBay from iNet Video. And then they told me they shipped it, and then a week later they told me that the price was too low and they weren't going to mail it. Which I'm not for sure exactly why they said they already shipped it and why they confirmed it shipped and then decided that they were going to give me a refund. It took almost a month for me to get my money back, and they kept saying, how would you like to order something else? We'll give you a credit. And I didn't want anything else. I wanted this movie. And they really just kept trying to weasel their way out of it. They didn't want to give me my money back. So finally I got my money back and had to order this from a different seller. But Requiem for a Dream is an amazing movie. Darren Aronofsky, which is now, he's been so famous recently because of Black Swan. This is one of his early films. I think Pi was earlier than this one. Requiem for a Dream is not only a weird psychological movie, but it's one of those movies that really kind of haunts you. I remember the first time I saw it, I really couldn't get it out of my head. Not for everybody, but definitely interesting watch. This is another film I got. I got this one used, although it did come with the backer, and that is American History X. And since this was open, I can go ahead and show it to you. It has kind of a shiny but yet matte finish, and what I mean by that is it's matte, but it's metallic. So as you'll see on the back, that's got, everything that's white is more like silver, but it's still a matte finish. And then it's 2 discs, but they're both on this side. And then for whatever reason, this is still a lot of it blank back here. But yeah, so I got that, American History X, which I think is an amazing movie. Okay, guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed not only my latest DVD Blu-ray update, but I was able to open some things and do a Christmas haul of sorts. So hopefully I'll have some other movies related stuff coming up, movie TV related. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a good 2012. Hope you had a good holiday season, and I will see you again next time. Talk to you later. Bye.